You're watching Sky News. Our top stories this evening. After meeting senior North Korean official at the White House, President Trump has said his summit with Kim Jong-un will go ahead in Singapore on the 12th of June. The EU has issued a 10-page list of American goods it's targeting with tariffs in response to President Trump's decision to impose new tariffs on steel and aluminium from Europe, Canada and Mexico. Spain's Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy has been forced out of office by a no-confidence vote in Parliament. The socialist leader Pedro Sanchez will officially take over in the next few days. And after months of political uncertainty, Italy's new populist Prime Minister and his government have been sworn in. The card payment company Visa says it's trying to resolve problems with some transactions which are failing in the UK and elsewhere in Europe. Well, let's return to that looming potential transatlantic trade war. Well, we do have the United States imposing tariffs on steel and aluminium from the EU, Canada and Mexico, and the EU retaliating. Oliver McGee is a former US Deputy Assistant Secretary of Transportation for Technology Policy. He joins us now from Lubbock in Texas. Mr. McGee, many thanks for being with us. I just wanted to start with your personal view on all of this. Do we believe that Donald Trump is trying to secure some form of concessions from the European Union when it comes to, or elsewhere in the world when it comes to steel and aluminium production levels? Or is he playing to the base? Is he willing to carry this all the way through to the WTO, I mean?
I think Donald Trump today is playing to the base. We're looking basically at a $12 trillion China economy going up against a $20 trillion American economy. And China's eating our lunch. And they're coming back for seconds for trade interest, intellectual property rights, and also commodities and steel and aluminum and agricultural products and farming. So he's playing straight to the base of the Rust Belt in Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania. And he's trying to look at how we bring back not only Wall Street to Main Street, but also how we bring it back to farming and manufacturing in these areas. And also, this is all about rebuilding urban centers in America, Cleveland and Detroit and Milwaukee, and trying to bring back billions of dollars of lost jobs. Today's jobs report says everything. We're at 3.8% unemployment here. It's the lowest in 17 years, and remarkably, it's 5.9% in the Black community. That's the first time it's ever been below 6% in Americans' history for Black Americans. So this is good news for America. This is the game of trades. And with the Korean summit back on June 12th, Neil, this is also the Game of Thrones.
Indeed. I suppose for those outside the United States, and you will understand that I might focus a little bit on that as well, is that whilst international trade is a rules-based system, the enforcement of those rules at the WTO can often take a bit of time. I mean, Section 232, internal security, does seem somewhat dubious, but, you know, if the WTO it takes 2-3 years to rule on it, I mean, what's the point?
That's a very, very excellent point you've made, Neil, because this is really ultimately, and Trump knows this is ultimately about the America First national security strategy. While we're trying to deal with the guns and the money, we're also trying to make sure that the economy is secure as well. This is not only about national security, but it's also integrated with economic security. But also, we're also still pushing forward internationally at international populism united with international prosperity. And the international leaders around the world, including Theresa May, want Trump to be a cheerleader for global growth, global prosperity, going across nations to be able to deal with stressed national income. And the big thing that's going in the 2018 midterms here in America is it's all about immigration and building a wall. And those are going to be the real pressing issues that Americans are most interested in, but also globally, worldwide, Neil. Countries are now beginning to look at international security tied to international borders, and then also making sure that they can basically control the stressed national incomes.
Well, the latest that we're just hearing, Mr. McGee, in fact, is that Canada has filed a WTO complaint over the steel tariffs. But actually, even within the United States, we're seeing some pretty prominent brands, Harley-Davidson, Hershey's, Levi's of all things, who are starting to make noises. I mean, will that not worry the president?
I think what he's all constantly doing, we saw this in his state dinner when he had all the corporate titans there, including Henry Kissinger as well, that I noticed. And they all had that signal. He was thanking them, but they've all been discussing that this is the game of trades matched with the game of thrones, because America has to get tough in the global competition, which is getting faster, 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 faster. It's fast capital, fast technology equals fast growth. It's just that simple. That is Trumpism.
But just in terms of what we've been hearing from the European Union itself today, of course, the United Kingdom coming out of it soon, but there have been some fairly negative noises from them as regards any future transatlantic relationship. I mean, there is an awful lot of American trade done over this side of the Atlantic.
Yes, there is, but the thing is that I think what we're trying to do is to really look even more sophisticated in how we do international economics, and this is all about the small changes in international currencies. Make no bones about it, that's what drives international economies in their partnerships with each other. But also, central banks are looking very closely here on how they're matching monetary policy with these fiscal policies across these nations joining together to try to work in this global game of thrones and game of trades. And that is really looking at when we see markets becoming more securitized and going into open derivatives and then advanced structured finance and now advanced structured risk. We're going to be obviously looking at more sophisticated international economics as well as domestic economics policies that have to be done. I'm a rocket scientist, but in part of doing and understanding optionalities and derivatives, that is rocket science. That's rocket science math. So I see the markets moving faster because they're becoming more advanced derivative markets, and that is more structured finance. That you need a sophisticated Trump familiar with the Wall Street business of trades to be able to drive that complex analysis of trying to drive growth. Because we're trying to get growth into the 4% range in America, and we're trying to keep up with fast competition that is taking place with China on our heels.
Indeed, I suppose if the US president pushes it too far, he may well discover you can't always have your cake and eat it. Oliver McGee, many thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me today, Neil.